7 Indian soldiers were killed following a Pakistani-led attack on 3 tank positions using guided missiles. This development prompted India, after repeated failed attempts today to engage directly with the Pakistani army, and to discover its weak points along the border, to take a new step, a decision made by the military leadership to grant the army the authority to act freely and independently in determining what is appropriate in confronting Pakistan. The decision has now become a military one, no longer political, as the political leadership has already approved a war against Pakistan. This was expected, especially after drone incursions were observed early in the morning, followed by 4 consecutive nights of light weapon skirmishes, and then the direct targeting of Pakistani positions with tanks, actions which Pakistan responded to forcefully, by downing drones and destroying the attacking tanks and positions. This appears to align with the Pakistani army's strategy, as their defense minister has accurately stated that an attack was imminent. India has thus granted its army freedom of movement specifically against Pakistan. This was made clear in an official statement. We now have multiple indicators. The immediate retaliation to every military action on the border, something we've seen repeatedly in recent days, especially today, with the shelling of Indian tank positions. The conflict is fierce, as shown in various videos. Militarily, the situation is extremely complex. Politically, India has given its army the green light against Pakistan. On the Pakistani side, they have not only thwarted initial attacks but also engaged in extensive intelligence work using drones and other tools. Moreover, they've tested India's readiness through ongoing fire exchanges along the border. There's a clear political dimension here. Today's developments are a direct response to India's psychological warfare, supported by Israeli intelligence, which is now directly aiding India in this confrontation. This includes the so-called resignation game, where it was claimed that 120 officers resigned in Quetta, 80 in Northern Command, and 300 soldiers in Mangla's First Army, along with another 50 officers and 500 soldiers. All of this is psychological warfare, not factual. At the same time, the gunfire exchanges, especially the death of 7 Indian soldiers in the Liba sector, highlight the seriousness of the situation. There's significant consideration being given to the attack on the Jafar Express train on March 11th, which was carried out by the Balochistan Liberation Army, BLA, and targeted a civilian transport. Pakistan has today presented what it calls definitive evidence of India's involvement in funding terrorism, asserting that the operation was planned and launched from Afghanistan with confirmed Indian funding. Pakistan emphasizes that it has suffered from terrorism, with 80,000 Pakistani fatalities over the past 2 decades, all allegedly funded by India. The Pakistani Prime Minister had previously raised this issue in a call with the UN Secretary General, citing the crisis in South Asia, especially in Jammu and Kashmir. In addition, there's a failure in mediation efforts by Saudi Arabia and other Gulf countries, and a hardline stance taken by Israel, which is actively supporting India's propaganda via Unit 8200. This includes media production in Urdu, Persian and Arabic, with publication levels in these languages reaching unprecedented levels in Israel's history. This represents a critical and exceptional development, as Israel's main goal is to eliminate Pakistan's nuclear capability to prevent all Muslims, Sunni and Shia alike, from possessing a nuclear bomb. The current situation presents the biggest opportunity, a prize greater than Iran's nuclear ambitions, according to Unit 8200 analysts. Turkish President Erdogan has responded by sending weapons directly to the Pakistani army via an air bridge starting with C-130s, with footage now publicly available. Erdogan has become the first world leader to stand firmly with Pakistan, defending its right to deterrent weapons and possibly setting the stage for future cooperation with Iran and Turkey. This support may lead to the relocation of Pakistan's nuclear program to Turkish territory, an extraordinary development that Israeli intelligence is already factoring into its calculations. These developments suggest that India is not only using Balochistan against Iran, with Israeli intelligence operating through Indian channels, but also directly attacking Pakistan from Afghanistan, as seen with the Jafar Express bombing. Pakistan has now submitted documents to the United Nations to highlight this threat. The war now has clear geopolitical targets, with known actors and differing tactics. Israel is aligned with India, while the United States is likely to step in at the last moment to de-escalate the war, maintaining its public anti-war stance while still pushing pressure on Iran and Yemen. A war between India and Pakistan would automatically relieve Iran from current sanctions and commitments regarding its nuclear program. The current nuclear threat is not just about Israel. Iran is deeply concerned about a possible nuclear confrontation between two air powers, India and Pakistan, both sharing direct borders with Iran. This backdrop opens the door to claims that Indian intelligence operations, run from Afghanistan, with direct Israeli funding, target both Iran and Pakistan, particularly through Balochistan. The financing comes from Israel via India into Afghanistan and then executed against Iran or Pakistan. This clarity now exists because war reveals secrets. The operations are now documented and presented at the UN. It is now undeniable that Indian intelligence carries out these operations with Israeli funds and strategy, including artificial intelligence support and logistical planning. All the ground coordination happens in Afghanistan, with spillovers into Iran and Pakistan. Balochistan remains the most dangerous card, alongside Mujahideen-e-Khalq in Iran, operating from Paris and Kabul. Documents on this were submitted today to the UN as part of what is called semi-conclusive evidence, a more precise translation than conclusive. From Israel's perspective, a war between India and Pakistan is desirable, just like a US-Iran conflict. These conflicts are aimed at reshaping the region, toppling Pakistan, and eliminating its nuclear arsenal, which is seen as a clear threat by Israel due to its Islamic nature. It's now clear that Pakistan's resilience and courage over the past 4 days, not only in downing drones but also in dealing with Israeli software in Indian tanks and missiles, is remarkable. Pakistan managed to neutralize these threats, demonstrating that the Pakistani forces are far more capable than how India tries to portray them. Finally, Indian PM Narendra Modi has officially given his army the green light to act. Thank you and goodbye.